Yeah, I think this should be much better. Welcome, everybody, to the first week of Alpha X Apprentice. Thank you, everybody, for tuning in. This is our new in-house tournament. We're gonna have our very best players, except just a couple, one of like the very best. But we're gonna have some really good players fighting each other to climb up in their groups and then get into the playoffs and then into the finals and then win this tournament. So we're just getting started. We just have the first week of games going on, and it's gonna be today and tomorrow. Group A, Group B, and Group C are gonna play all of their games, and just use the command bracket in the chat if you want to take a look at the brackets, take a look at the groups, and well, just see who are our very own players who are gonna fight for this tournament. And no more to say. I think we're all here to watch some StarCraft, so why don't we watch some StarCraft? And our first game of the day is gonna be NWK Nick versus Psyche. And well, since I already have the replays, let's get into our very first game of this tournament. Sadly, in Group A we already had a walkover in Arrow 5 versus Mage. You can already check that in the bracket using the bracket command I told you before. And well, let's get into it. Psyche versus Nick, game 1. Here we go. If there are any issues with like audio or anything, just let me know in the chat. Hello Token, how's it going? Here we are on Ephemeron, one of the new maps of this pool, one of the weirdest one as well. We have what is considered to be the best matchup in the game, CVT. But just get into introductions. In the bottom right corner, spawning as a light pink Zerg, it is Nick. Oh, my mouse wheel is not working. This is funny. Spawning instead in the top left corner of the very same Ephemeron. It's our orange Terran, very orange Terran. It's Psyche. I have to, well, I'll just do it like that. It's Psyche. It's very weird not to do it with the mouse wheel. Anyway, let's get into it. And WK Nick is going for Hutch first. Well, everything is pretty standard. Most Zergs are actually going for overload speed opening in the early game to just catch what's going on in the opponent base before anything can actually hit you. So for game 1 we already have something pretty standard, and nothing too weird coming out of this, honestly. Anyway, what I really want to highlight is actually the choice of the players in a best of 5 to pick Ephemeron as a first map, since, well, it's not a very common map. It's something pretty different from what we used to see in the previous map pools. It's a very wide map, also very short, while at this moment overload speed is not started yet. 2 queens. I think Nick is going for a link speed opener as usual, and well, once the Reaper is gonna confirm that nothing really weird is coming out in his own base yet, the SCV is just gonna go back home, while the Reaper is gonna try to deny as much time as possible for mining and for making the third base Actually, the Lynx get a really good surround on top of the Reaper, but these things are just too damn slippery. It's just gonna go away. 6 Lynx actually being made by Nick, who's trying to minimize losses and get into a good spot to make his archery. The drone is actually almost fall down, and he actually falls down. The third archery by Nick is denied. Oh, map 1 is not picked. Is that by the admins? I didn't know it. Well, the admins have chosen a very weird map for game 1, especially in this matchup. I mean, it can be good for harassment for Terran. Really, it's a really good defensive map and everything, but it's really hard for a Terran player to actually find a good spot to siege his tanks before attacking, since this map is so open. Also, really good Nidus map is overload over here, maybe up to something not very good. Roach Warren is actually the choice. It's a blind choice by Nick as his tech option. No banginess has been produced by Lightpink Zerg, who's also banking a lot of minerals trying to micro these drones, or easy banking all those minerals for a very strong Roach push. Yeah, Alt Roach is in production by Nick. The Liberator is gonna come in quite a while, so Psych won't even see this coming. Not a single tank in production yet. The Tech Club just gets started, and 4 aliens and a Reaper are way less than enough to hold such a strong attack. With Roaches, the Lynx get on top of some of the Marines, actually weakening the defenses of Psych even more. And right now, the Roaches are gonna find the aliens in the open, and there will be nothing to do for these aliens to actually counter these Roaches. They are trying to go past those 3 Roaches to get into the mineral line of Nick. Sorry, right now Nick is at the doors of Psych base that isn't completely walled off. SCV pool to stop those lanes. The Liberator tries to get into a good position to avoid as much damage as possible. Well, already 3 SCVs are going down, 4 SCVs, a ton of money in time, and the Liberator is not gonna stand long under those Ravager piles. More and more lanes are just flooding through. 10 SCVs have died. Not a single drone died the whole game. Liberator is under repair, while those Roaches just outside of here are probably gonna morph into Ravagers soon. 26 more links in production, and many more already done trying to slip through. This bunker is the saving grace of Psych, who tries to move his Liberator even more forward, but these links try to get on top of the bunker 10 cells. The first tank has been produced, but 13 SCVs have fallen. More and more links are just flooding. Now they're on top of the tank. The Liberator can't stop all those links. The Ravager actually dies. The Liberator is still alive. The tank is under repair, and it seems that Psych has hold this incredibly enough after losing these many workers. Our Terran player is gonna go into game 2 with a strong advantage after deflecting this very good push by Nick. No follow-up in a Zerg build gives you way more time than it... Oh, yeah, that was a little bit of a spoiler, but hope you didn't see that. Anyway, let's get into game 2. It's gonna be on Disco Bloodbath, and this time it's not an admin choice. This time it's just a very weird map. A bit rusty after not casting for this long, but you don't even know how much I miss this. Anyway, spawning in the right hand corner of Disco Bloodbath, it's a light pink Zerg. Currently lagging 1 point behind in the specified. It is Nick. Spawning instead in the top left corner of the one and same Disco Bloodbath is the Terran player spawning as the orange one. 1 point ahead, it is Psych. Oh, and he's up to no good. You can tell as much as that Nick's Overload is gonna scout it. Is pretty much perfectly, really good Overload pathing to actually catch any possible proxies. But this is not gonna be a very committed proxy, it's gonna be just a 2 racks. The Overlord has to stay here as much time as possible to see what actually is coming. I don't think a drone pool in this scenario is actually what is needed by Nick, since this proxy location is a little bit far off and it's in a pretty strong choke over here, as you can see. So as soon as just one Marine is out, he's gonna lose too many drones for this to make worth. But is it Marines? Is it something else? It is Marines, and it is probably going to be a bunker soon. Nick not changing a lot of what he actually planned, just moving the drones out to stop the bunker. So this is gonna be a pure Ling and drones defense with some queens to aid them. But as soon as the first Marine is out, this is not gonna be as easy as Psych has probably thought before. This still no factory in his main base, just one guess. And now this Marine is current. Okay, this bunker in the low ground is very easily defensible, sorry. But with 3 Marines out, it is actually going to be not the most convenient choice. This bunker is not in a position in which it can shoot at the archery. So those Marines are basically on their own right now. Spine crawler being produced. These Lings are trying to stop those Marines from escaping the base. But well, Marines are pretty strong in the early game against slow Lings. But nonetheless, Nick is getting some really good trades. He lost 3 drones and 2 Lings, but he has gotten almost 5 Marines. This bunker is almost done, and it's gonna be a very strong stronghold, sorry. I wanted to say stronghold. Just outside of Nick's base. This bunker has to fall. Nick has to deny any high ground vision his opponent can possibly have. And right now, Psych has just to float his barracks and start transitioning into something else. This bunker is probably gonna be salvaged very soon. Now those queens are the spine crawler actually, are just shooting at it from the high ground. No salvage yet. This is gonna be 100 mineral loss for Psych. More Marines, and right now I think Nick found himself in a pretty good spot. What I'm not really liking of his ult is just the lack of workers. He lost 3 workers trying to defend that, and he made a ton of Lings. Now he's made a Roach Warren as well to probably try and go for an all-in. But at this moment, actually, I think Psych with the worker advantage and the tech advantage, with the command center in production as well, I'm not too sure, but I think Psych found himself in a quite convincing position. His attack was not really committed. He can probably hold this with just the 2 aliens he has home. His command center is gonna get denied by a little bit if he can micro these Lings to perfection, but his 4 aliens are in time, are out just exactly when you want them to be out. And now the roaches are in production. Probably Nick is going to try a slightly stronger version of the all-in he performed in the game before, but I'm not really sure if that's what he wants. No drones in production for Nick, that is sitting at 18 workers, and he's going for a quite powerful lean. No tank is gonna be in production anytime soon. The Viking is gonna try to deny as much vision as possible, since Psych wanted to go for a strong bio play, but Nick going once again for the same 18 workers all in he performed in game 1. Sorry. What is this? He has to break these aliens. Oh gosh. Okay, the aliens actually get out. There is no way for Nick to see in this, but right now, the all-in by Nick gets instantly spotted. Those Lings trying to get into a good position to surround those aliens, but a lot of them are going down basically instantly. Not a good idea to fight those aliens with just Lings. And right now, with a lot of production inside his base, Psyche has just to buy enough time for this tank to come out. The SCVs are not repairing, but the tank is out at last. A lot of Marines, but the Lings are just doing basically nothing. Too hard to actually break the opponent base without Banelings, and I think Nick has to reconsider his options, because only Ravagers with that high ground vision are not going to cut this. Losing that Overlord with the Viking against the Viking actually was a pretty big deal. Now that's way more than enough Marines to actually hold this many lanes, as the tank establishes a good positioning on the high ground. More and more Marines are in production, 5 at a time. Medivacs are in production as well. At the same time, this Viking trying to supply block Nick, who has a light supply block, soft supply block right now. It is true that he's still sitting outside his opponent's base, pinning him down, but he's 13 workers behind, his 10, actually 8 supply in our army behind, and at this stage, probably Psyche has just found himself in a slightly stronger position than he probably thought he was, after having to retreat with his barracks to his base after his proxy. Okay, these lanes actually trying to break the rocks for some more aggression, but this drop is gonna cause some troubles. Right now, it's just a lot of unit skill for Psyche, and not enough for Nick. Now that his drop is coming inside Nick's base, there, I don't think there is enough to actually deflect this properly. Combat shields, it's almost done. No standard upgrades, but Sting is done. These Medivacs have plenty of energy, and they can just outrun those roaches from base to base. Marines are being healed, and those roaches are basically nothing for them to be scared. They try to get a good surround. Nick actually gets a good surround, forces Psyche to retreat, but instead he goes into the main, and right now this is gonna be once again a lot of trouble. The Medivac get away, but Nick once again forced him to making units, not expanding to a third base location. He wants to all-in again, and Psyche knows exactly what's going on. Leaving those 2 Medivacs just outside Nick's base also gets him a little bit of vision of anything coming outside of Nick's base, and those Lings are just trying to see if there is a spot in which they can actually scout what's coming from Nick's base. Right now, Psyche playing very safely, getting a ton of tanks, getting his +1/+1 upgrades, still making Marines and Medivacs. He knows there are no Banes, so there is no need for a Marauder shield block. Anyway, more and more Overlords actually falling for Nick. He's not gonna eat a supply block, not even a soft one. 2 more Overlords in production, but good scan by Psyche, sees no lair, no third, and just a ton of units basically everywhere. Those 2 Medivacs, while not giving a lot of a headache to Nick, are just gonna see basically everything that's happening at once. Now a lot of Ravagers, a lot of Roaches are going outside, while these Lings are actually sure the Medivacs won't be able to see the attack coming. Psyche going for a third base, feeling pretty safely about it, moving his tanks in good position. Of course, this tank in this position is really valuable. Also, no Overseers, no Overlords with Nick's army, so no way he can possibly shoot at this tank on the high ground. Nick is setting up a good surround, moving the lanes as well, trying to get behind the tanks. But right now, Psych moving his Marines exactly where he wants them at once, and the army of Psych is just too strong for Nick to actually push into it. He calls the GG and the game is over. Psych getting a really good advantage with a 2-0 lead in this best of 5 series. He sure gets into game 3 knowing a little bit better what his opponent has been planning for this series. 2 all-ins, one after the other. And I'm just curious if we're gonna see another all-in in game 3, or is it going to be something a little less aggressive by Nick, who's being really on the proactive side for the whole series. Let's get into game 3. Psych leading the series 2-0. Spawning in the bottom left hand corner of World of Sleepers. My personal favorite map of the pool, by the way. It's our light pink serve. It is Nick. Spawning instead in the top right hand corner as the orange Terran. It is Psych. Leading convincingly 2-0 in this best of 5 series. First week of the Alpha X Apprentice, of course. Type exclamation mark. Wait a moment. Is this another proxy? Well, anyway, yes, it is. Type exclamation mark bracket to check the groups, check the scores. Anyway, Nick going for Hutch first. 16 Hutch. This is a little bit greedy. But Psych, of course. Nick scouted the proxy locations in game 1 with a slightly less conventional overload pathing, and Psych, thinking that his opponent would go for the same type of overload pathing, just placed the 2 barracks exactly in front of Nick's base, basically in the middle of the map. And right now Nick is not gonna see this. Oh, actually it is! But it's so... Psych is not gonna see the overload, while Nick is gonna see the barracks. And this is a big advantage for Nick, who still has gone for... Oh gosh. Well, Nick pulls his drones. The archery is still a long way. Spawning pool as well. Another 6 drones pool, like in the game before. And right now the 3 drones are just a little bit too late. Those 2 Marines are gonna get the first one of them. And now they're gonna probably be in a good enough spot to establish the bunker just outside of Nick base. And that is gonna be a huge problem. 2 bunkers actually in production right now. Roach Warring is in production as well, 10 links. But the first bunker is almost done. And if it is done, these Marines are gonna be basically shooting at everything that's coming at them without too many problems. And the bunker is done. 4 Marines inside it, exactly in range to shoot at the archery. Nick has just to suck that archery, waiting for Ravagers to actually kill the proxy. But with 2 bunkers just outside, I think that if Nick doesn't break this, it's just history to his opponent. Who once again went for a 2 Rux proxy, just like Maru. Right now, Nick is waiting for the Broodlings to actually attack with them, probably. Or maybe not. He's trying to go for the SCVs, but he's not gonna get a lot of damage on top of them. Those Roaches are probably going to be moved into Ravagers soon, to just break the bunkers as soon as he possibly can. But Psych is just going back home. Right now, more drones are gonna get pulled, and the mineral line of Nick is actually really weak at the moment. So Nick going for a little fancy move. Of course, mining this mineral wall to get his natural over here instead of over here. But Tiger has just let go of his bunkers, so he could just break this with roaches. I think Nick is a little bit scared from what happened in the game before. And he's trying to go for something a little bit safer, but at the same time, Tyke is not looking like he cares a lot about this proxy. Also, Nick going outside of his base with those 3 Ravagers. They're gonna hit probably as soon as this tank is halfway through, but another one is already been done. The Viking is gonna kill every possible vision on the high ground Nick could possibly move next to his opponent base, and once again this is a pretty committed lane. Nick is hard supply blocked. He has his 5 Ravagers to try and break the tank, but if 2 tanks are out in different positions and the second tank is out, there is no way Nick can break this if the second tank actually gets into position. Just enough space from the tank and the Ravagers to prevent bios from coming at them. 3 bios kill a tank, and right now only 2 Ravagers are alive. Psych doubling the supply of his opponent. Nick calls the GG, and Psych gets out of his first week with a really convincing victory. Well done to our Terran player. Anyway, as I told you before, we already had a walkover in Group A. Sadly, Arrowfire got a victory on a mage. So our current leaders of Group A are going to be Arrowfire and Psych. Of course, this is just the first week. We're gonna have 3 more weeks just for the groups. And we're gonna see if those 2 players are actually going to come on top of the respective group. Anyway, for Group B, the 2 games I'm gonna cast today are Last Surprise versus Exo Striker and Aster versus Kingslayer. So let's get ready, because we're gonna cast Last Surprise versus Chlorine first, a TVP. So let's change a little bit. We are gonna have, of course, a TVP and a ZVP. So we're gonna have 3 different matchups, not a single mirror matchup. And I think it's the best way to start this tournament. So let's get into game 1 of Last Surprise versus Extra Striker, Alpha X Apprentice, Week 1, Group B. And we're ready to get started. The music is already getting tense. Spawning in the bottom right hand corner of Ephemeron is our purple Terran, Last Surprise. Spawning instead in the top left hand corner of Ephemeron, it's our yellow Protoss player. It is Chlorine. So this pylon, of course, over here to stop the Reaper from coming on top, with placing the gateway here and a cybernetic score here. This is gonna get, it has got pretty standard, since there is a Reaper cliff into the main in pretty much all of the maps in this pool. At the same time, Last Surprise going for a slightly more defensive wall off with the barracks, just closing it with the bunker. With the supply depot over here. Of course, refinery first to get the Reaper slightly quicker, and just to tech up a little bit quicker as well. Chlorine going for a scout, since there is not a lot going on in his opponent base. Of course, trying to delay these barracks a little bit will be good, But last surprise, of course, came with for this prepared, going for a scout of his own. Chlorine going for a Nexus first, well, just a gateway expand to the completely... Is this a wall? I think it is. It is like just enough. Last surprise with the spray, with the Diva spray as well. Anyway, Chlorine going for his Nexus first. As soon as he sees there is nothing actually really threatening coming from last surprise base, going for a command center of his own. Chlorine actually built his second Pioneer slightly later than he should, and his tech choice is gonna be a Robo, also an Adept first, to try and get the kill on the Reaper. Protoss players are usually going for a Stalker, but an Adept first also can be really good, since you can use it to scout quicker, and the Adept just comes out at the right time, and he's probably gonna get the kill on the Reaper. This is actually going to be pretty huge. Last Surprise is pretty much blind about what's coming out of Chlorine's base. He saw the Robo Bay, the robotics facility, sorry, but I don't know if this is gonna be enough for him to actually get what's coming at him in time. Right now the Adept is okay, new Observer is the first unit that's gonna come out of this robotics facility. While at the same time, no Twilight Council, straight into Robotics Bay. I think this is gonna be probably a Disruptor play, since Colossi actually need a lot of support units from them to work. We see also Warp Prism, and this is probably going to work better with Disruptors. Lately, Protoss players are not shied away from a Colossi drop, but I'm not too sure in this scenario. At the same time, Last Surprise is not going for something really aggressive. Placing a bunker in front of his natural to prevent any strong lanes by Chlorine. Tank on the high ground or on the low ground, I'm not too sure about it yet. But anyway, no drop, no mine drop, no handling drop, nothing coming. Yeah, and it is a Disruptor drop with Warp Prism speed. This is gonna get fancy. Disruptors, of course, really strong aggressive options, but as well as a really greedy option. Chlorine went for a wall off with the Stalker and the Adept to prevent Hellions from coming in, but it doesn't look like there's gonna be a lot of aggression from Last Surprise. They decided to go for probably the most defensive possible option, actually getting a Raven as well and a second tank while transitioning into Bio. While Chlorine instead greeting it out, not getting units, getting into Disruptor. This Warp Prism is zooming through the map, and the Disruptor is gonna get 2 SCV kills. Of course, this Raven with an interference matrix could be really strong in actually denying any more damage coming from this Disruptor drop. The Warp Prism is actually trying to get on top of the main. Once again, the Disruptor getting into position. This tank is just all interference matrix on top of the Warp Prism. And now there is no more damage that can be possibly done by Chlorine, but instead is now transitioning into Colossi, getting his Twilight Council, getting his Forge, getting his Fur Base. Chlorine is basically doing everything at once, and now going once again with the Disruptor in, getting 0 SCVs with a quite unlucky Disruption Nova. Chlorine is Extra Striker. Do you want me to call him Extra Striker or Chlorine? Because I'm not too sure what he wants to be called, so I'm just calling him Chlorine. The Warp Prism is getting away right now, while the Observer is gonna get away as well, because the Raven with his detection can actually... Oh, 3 SCVs have gone down, not a lot of damage being done by Extra Striker or Chlorine, whatever you want to call him. Oh, the Warp Prism is solo! And he's still gonna get through with 30 HP and 6 SAV kills. Now, Extra Striker going for these 3 shield batteries in front of his third base location, really defensive. Since, well, actually Colossi take quite some time before they get into like a good spot. They need a lot of units defending them, and 4 more gateways of course being dropped by Chlorine right now to make sure he has enough production to support those Colossi. Of course, banking some... oh, actually the Disruptor is gonna get found himself in the open. The Warp Prism just gets away thanks to Warp Prism speed, but right now the Colossi, I don't think there is enough for Chlorine to actually get... okay, Guardian Shield really good, and a really good Interference Matrix as well. The Sokas tried to get on top of the tanks, and actually it was enough. Colossi and Stalkers really, really good against tanks and just Marines. No Marauders being in his army, of course, being a slightly disadvantage for Last Surprise, who's now producing some Marauders as well. But Chlorine right now with a really fast Warp Prism, these things are so damn fast. Look at them zooming. I just find it hilarious. Anyway, with a really, really strong production, 2 really strong units over there countering everything. The tanks are not even sieged. The Disruptor has fallen, but everything else is standing. Last Surprise just calls the GG, and Chlorine, or Exo Striker, gets the win in this first... oh, I'm tilted. Wait. Okay. In this first game of this best of 5. What is my webcam doing today? Oh, come on. Yeah, much better. Oh no. Just let's get into game 2. I think that's what you came for, not for seeing my face. So it's gonna be World of Sleepers. Once again, Last Surprise versus Chlorine or Exo Striker. I don't know how to call them. Just, if you're in the chat, just tell me how I should call you. Anyway, let's get into game 2. Exo Striker currently ahead 2-0 in this best of 5 series. But Last Surprise, well, is a really, really strong player, so I'm not shy away from actually saying that our Terran player could eventually tie the score off, and here he is spawning in the top right hand corner as purple. He is Last Surprise. Hello Canuck, hello Baxter, how you going everybody? How you doing? Sorry. Anyway, spawning in the bottom left hand corner. Currently ahead 1 point in this series. It is the Yellow Protoss Exo Striker. So much Terra music today. Anyway, it seems like both players are once again going for something as standard as possible. I'm not too sure if those players actually have an history, but I see them really not going for something too cheeky. Right now, of course, the 2 scouting workers are gonna find them in the middle of the map, but once again, Exo Striker trying to delay a little bit of this barracks production, just trying to get 2 SCVs out of the mineral line for a while. But the barracks is gonna be on time. Oh, really cool move by Last Surprise that raises the D, but just in time to actually block the probe. But not enough to actually prevent it from getting away. Exo Striker with some fancy moves as well, getting his Nexus as soon as he finds out there's nothing too weird coming outside of last surprise. Base and cybernetic scoring production. Okay, right now we're seeing something a little bit different. So it is a reactor barracks. This could be Hellion drop or Widowmine drop. That's what I'm calling right now. But yeah, I also think Last Surprise is a really strong player. But I'll not shy away to, as I said, to make the prediction of a possible comeback to come. But Exa Striker looking really convincing with a really greedy. Okay, change of plans, no robo. It is a Stargate for Exa Striker. Really, very risky choice once again for a Protoss player. In this matchup especially, it can lead to some very weird situations. I think Last Surprise actually doesn't want to go for a drop yet. I see the tech lab, but this is probably gonna start the tank production. I'm calling tank production. What do you call, guys? And it is a tank. Starport on the way as well. It's an Oracle first for Exa Striker. That is not gonna have a lot to counter it, since in the main there are no Marines. The Viking is in production actually. The Oracle is just gonna go outside of a Last Surprise base basically as soon as the Viking is done, just slightly earlier. Phoenix second. I don't think the actual Exa Striker is going to go into a Mass Phoenix style. I already see 2 more gateways being dropped, no Twilight Council yet. But the Viking is done, so this Oracle is probably gonna get shooed away quite easily. Oh, actually, Last Surprise is moving out, so there is free room for Exa Striker. Oh gosh. What is Exa Striker doing? I'm really confused right now. Anyway, there is another lot going on for Exa Striker back home. I think Last Surprise, if he establishes the bunkers just outside of his opponent's base, I mean, really good scouting with the Oracle and the Phoenix, of course. The Viking trying to get some shots on top of the Phoenix. A good scan by Last Surprise. Now the probes are going to get through. The bunkers are not yet into production. One of them is probably going to fall. The bunker is going to get denied. The probes on top of the tank. The second tank trying to get into a good position. Now everything by Last Surprise is actually dying, but at what cost? 6 probes have died, 4 SCVs, a lot of tanks, a lot of stuff is going down for Last Surprise. And right now those 2 oracles actually managed to get on top of the tanks, but they also die. So much stuff has died in this game already. 5 minutes in, and basically 2 full armies have been blown out by those 2 players, losing 4 probes and 6 SCVs. Last Surprise lagging slightly behind right now with a 5 worker disadvantage, but of course 2 orbital commands can easily prevent the economic disadvantage from becoming too big for the Terran player to actually get his grasp on the game. Now Last Surprise patrolling his Viking to avoid any Oracle damage, while having a Cyclone, a Viking, and a bunker in the natural. This Oracle is going to do nothing but a Forge, a Fair Nexus, and a Robotics facility is gonna get dropped by Exa Striker. Right now, the Oracle is under fire. Just gets away. He's gonna try to get in the main, but there is a Viking over there. And actually, this Oracle is going to get so close to dying. As I said, nothing is gonna get done by this Oracle, who's actually not scouting the transition by his opponent. There are a lot of bio units. The Cyclone might have pulled. Okay, now he knows. Now he knows. Now he sees this much bio, and now he knows with the revelation as well. Very good move by Exa Striker, who now knows exactly what's coming at him, and he dropped robotics bay. I always say robotics facility when I meant to say robotics bay and the latter and the opposite. Sorry. Anyway, this is probably going to be once again Stalkers and Colossi. Seems to be a very strong style against tanks and bio. Right now, Exostriker, of course, being a little bit more confident in his opponent, having a lot of probes in production, a lot of probes already produced, almost free base saturation. But right now, Last Surprise sees exactly what his opponent is doing, not expanding for not expanding a little bit quicker, as probably been a slight mistake by our Terran player, who's currently a little bit too much behind in production compared to his opponent. 2 Widow Mines being produced at once in this factory instead of tanks. And I feel this is a pretty good move, since there is no Twilight Council for Exostriker yet. Oh, actually there is. Has Blink been... Wait a moment. Sorry. Okay, no Blink. Wait. This is so weird. I'm so surprised actually of seeing no Blink, like at all. Like, he has a ton of focus. Widow Mines right now are gonna get a lot of value. Thermal lands being produced as well, but these Widow Mines are just gonna shoot through all of these Stalkers, a lot of Marauders as well. I mean, Last Surprise has the numbers. Sorry, Exostriker has the numbers. But Last Surprise is just a slightly better composition right now. Okay, charge being made by Exostriker right now, who's also trying to moving out right now. Last Surprise with his Marine Marauder drop, getting a little bit of a Arthur's Python over there, getting some probes. Last Surprise getting a quite good spot, but right now these many Stalkers are just gonna get everything killed, and I don't think this has actually been worth for Last Surprise, who's got nothing of these charge lots coming right now. And the Widow Mines can deal a lot of friendly fire if there are a lot of charge lots. +2 also being done by Exostriker, who's now sitting quite confidently with how many gates? It's 9 gates. Okay, these mines trying to get something done, but these many Stalkers with some Zealots behind it with charge. No tanks, not enough Widow Mines, just not enough of everything for Last Surprise, who's now of course really ahead on workers, trying to get this War Prism. Oh gosh, and he manages to get 9 Zealots into the main base. Last Surprise being pulled apart from side to side. Now the rest of Exostriker army moving into the third base location. 2 SCVs just fallen to the middle, drop into the main. These Stalkers trying to get the best possible engagement they could. The Widow Mines not getting enough damage done, while in the main those Zealots are just going at it. 10 SCVs have fallen, and right now it seems just like a slight lack of control for Last Surprise, who's losing every single SCV he has to Exostriker multi-drone attack. Oh, I'm tilted again. Okay, seems good. Anyway, Last Surprise looked like he had what it takes to actually close the game out, but instead it has been Exostriker to get game 2, and now we're going into game 3 on Disco Bloodbath. A really off map, especially for this matchup, and I'm really curious to see what those 2 very good players are going to show us in this map. So game 3, Last Surprise versus Exostriker on Disco Bloodbath. Spawning in the bottom left corner, currently 2 points behind in this best of 5 series in week 1. It is our Purple Terran Last surprise. Spawning instead in the top bottom right hand corner. As the yellow Protoss, he likes the name Clarine apparently into the game. But his real name, it is Exa Striker. So once again, walling off this location to prevent the Reaper from jumping on top of this cliff. You probably can see that, but it's this small cliff over here and over here. Of course, it's really common for Protoss players and really good for Protoss players to actually deny just the shortcut for the Reaper. But I think Exa Striker is just trying to scout for some proxies with a slightly off pathing, but yeah, nothing weird coming from our Protoss player, no proxies. Just once again, very standard play from both those guys. After choosing what is probably one of the largest map in the pool, I think Disco Blob Buff and Thunderbird are actually the largest maps in the pool. I think Thunderbird is slightly bigger, but Disco Blob Buff also really big. All the maps are really big to be completely honest, but those two are just on another level. Anyway, type !rocket in the chat to take a look at the groups and what is going on in this first week of Alpha X Apprentice. At first, once again, for Exa Striker, and I'm just really curious to see what his tech choice is gonna be this game. We have seen a Stargate opener, we have seen a Robo opener. What are we gonna see now? A Twilight opener? I think he's gonna play Robo again. It was probably his strongest play. Okay, Twilight. I just call it. It is a Twilight. The three possible different openers Protoss can do have been done in this series at Game 3 by our Protoss player. And right now he's trying also to delay his command center by a little bit, but with some good control, Last Surprise prevents anything from happening. Also, Last Surprise, I think he saw the Twilight Council. Yes, he did. He also see the Sentry. I don't know about that. Yeah, that is gonna try to get a scout of his own robotics facility, of course, being the immediate. Actually, a really cool move for Last Surprise. It pulls the two SCVs inside of the command center. The Adept is gonna get out. Anyway, the robotics facility, of course, being the tech choice just after the Twilight Council for obvious reasons. And now we see a Dark Shrine being dropped. It's both our team, Canuck. This is a Alpha X Apprentice, it's an in-house tournament, so Exa Striker and Last Surprise are both Alpha X players. So just cheer for whoever looks cooler for you, I don't know. Anyway, Dark Shrine with a Warp Prism in production. I don't know if he wants to go immediately for the Dark Templars drop. Dark Templars like warping into the main, or just an Archon drop. But right now what I see is those two command centers not having enough energy for a scan. And actually a lot of SCVs could fall if as soon as this orbital command has 50 energy. Oh gosh. Oh gosh, this is gonna be tense. If he uses a mule right now, he's probably dead. And here it is, just barely 50 energy on this orbital command. Oh, Shadow Stride as well. This is really cool. I don't know if Last Surprise actually saw the I don't know, the glimmer of those two Dark Templars, but I really like the Widowmine drop. I think it's one of the strongest and coolest possible opener. And okay, right now the DTs are going at it. There is not enough energy in both Orbital Command. No Riven in production. No Tech Lab next to the starport, and this is gonna be a lot of mining. This is gonna be a lot of mining denied by Exo Striker, who's now going at the starport to prevent any Riven from being produced. Oh gosh. Oh sorry, cannot get it. Oh wait. Oh gosh, those Widow Mines. 15 probes have fallen over here. That's a lot of probes. This is not a good game to be a worker in. 16 workers killed a last surprise. 6 by those really nasty DTs, and just now last surprise is gonna have enough energy for a scan to get on top of this Dark Temper, who's just gonna Shadow Stride away. Unless those 5 Dark Temples are actually going to Shadow Stride inside the main of Last Surprise, that will also be a pretty cool move, to be honest. 3 more. Okay, this is a really strong attack and a really weird one at that. Now Dark Templars Shadow Striding in. A lot of them are actually falling, but these many Dark Templars have crazy DPS, and I don't think there is enough for Last Surprise to hold this. DTs deal an astonishing amount of damage. A lot of SCVs are falling. Everything is falling for Last Surprise. 16, 19, 20 SCVs, 21, 7 more probes fallen to these 3 Widow Mines being dropped by this Medivac. But right now we are 19 workers for Last Surprise and 36 for Exo Striker. With those Shadow Stride, Dark Templars doing a lot of damage, and right now another scan to try and kill those Dark Templars. There is more energy to get another scan, but I don't know if there is enough DPS to get on top of these Dark Templars. They just barely fall. This has been a really cool game this far, and right now Last Surprise is gonna get attacked once again by something even stronger in this scenario. Aliens are not really good against Dragulas. Those Dark Templars are just gonna Shadow Stride on top of the mineral lines, and right now 9 more probes have actually died under the shots of those Widow Mines, but these Zealots are gonna get on top of the aliens, on top of the workers, on top of the Marauders, on top of the Viking, on top of everything. Dark Templars Shadow Striding everywhere. Last Surprise supply is plummeting down. 8 workers for him right now. 6 in army supply, and it seems there is enough for Exo Striker to clear everything that's remaining, and 3 more Dark Templars Shadow Stride in, and these are just gonna get everything else done. Exo Striker takes this series 3-0. We have the second 3-0 of this first week. So currently Exo Striker on top of Group B, but we still have one more best of 5 to close this first day of Alpha X Apprentice. We're gonna stream tomorrow at 7 PM CST once again, and we're gonna have the remaining games. We're gonna have the second game of Group B. Actually, we're gonna have just Group C tomorrow. Yeah, we're gonna have the 2 best of 5s of Group C, and then the next week we're gonna have the games of Wood 2, and probably some things will already be decided in that week. So we're gonna probably know who's going into the playoffs and who's not, but there is still room in week 3 for some more, change of plans. But let's get into the next best of 5. It is Kingslayer versus Aster, so a PvZ, and let's get into it. Game 1, Ephemeron. Okay, here we go. And here we go, spawning In the bottom right hand corner of Ephemeron is our light pink Protoss. It is Kingslayer. Is this Zest? I think it is. Come on, you should rock the Alpha X portrait, but well, spawning instead of rocking the Alpha X portrait. Yeah, that's better. It is our green Zerg. It is Aster. Oh, and oh gosh, 17 hatch. You're not allowed to do that. Oh, wait a moment. That's a red card for me. So this probe is actually trying to hatch block Aster. It doesn't look like he wants to get an hatch anytime soon anyway. And right now, Kingslayer knows, gets into the main, sees the spawning pool first, and goes straight back into the natural to actually try and delay the archery for as much time as you possibly can. Kingslayer is probably going to go for a cybernetics core first, and Nexus second in his expand game, if he wants to expand at all. But right now the pylon block is gonna delay some more the archery of Aster. He's making 6 lanes. Of course, this is not a really committed lane or nothing like that. It's just a slightly aggressive build. I'm slightly confused by not seeing any more drones in production, but I think after those 6 lanes we're gonna see some more drones being produced. Of course, these lanes do not bother with the probe. That is a Queen's job. Shield battery in the... oh, actually it's a second power. Yeah, it's also a really solid choice, because if the lanes get in, of course, the first thing they are going to kill is the pylon. If they kill the pylon, there is actually no way the Protoss player can just stop those lanes without losing probes. Anyway, the Zealot comes in. Okay, mineral bulk behind the Zealot, and right now, of course, the only problem is trying to buy some more time for the Adept to be out. This game has not been played with Game Max on. Well, I'm going to work a little bit harder on it. Work 8 in production. Of course, the Adept is now out, and there is no way those Zerglings are gonna get inside that wall right now. So, a really convincing hold by Kingslayer, but once again, this build by Aster is nothing really committed as aggression goes. Of course, this early lair is something way more committed. Wings are actually staying in the middle of the map to try and avoid some scouting. Robotics, Facility, and Forge are going to be the tech choices for Kingslayer, who is getting a quite early Forge. I'd say earlier than you're supposed to take it. So if both players are going for something really aggressive, I'm gonna say we're gonna have a funky game. Third archery in production for Aster as well, who's just now droning his natural. Not producing a lot of units, but getting his stack really quickly. I do not see a Roach Warrior in production, so I guess this is gonna be a spy play. Actually, I do not see... I don't see Overlord. Okay, it's a Nidus. I was about to say I don't see Overlords in position to get a Nidus, but I wasn't seeing any gas being taken. Actually, I'll start going for one of my favorite builds, and I didn't even recognize it. I don't think Kingslayer actually... oh, actually he saw the Nidus, but did he click on it? That's a whole different question, because I don't think he clicked on it. And this is gonna be so bad for a Protoss player. Okay, he's making pylons in position to avoid the Nidus play from being made, but this place is completely blindfolded right now. Links in the wall to actually try and distract his opponent. The Nidus being dropped in the main, just showed. Oh gosh, it is in Kingslayer's side, but he's gonna be slightly too late to come on top on it. The queens are gonna be what's coming out first. They have the transducers, the links are going to flood through, and Kingslayer has nothing to go but into its natural. Who's also being threatened by another Nidus Swarm right now. Aster tries to get on top of the violence, tries to get on top of the probes, of course, to try and deny as much defensive options as possible. Kingslayer gets into a good choke point to try and hold this. The Immortal, of course, is gonna fall down to these lanes. Just too much DPS, but the choke point into the main, in which Kingslayer has put his units in, has been truly a saving grace. Right now, probes are being pulled as well, but these zealots are just trading excellently against these many lanes. Not too many probes. They've actually 12 probes have fallen down. Oh, it is probably due to these lanes. And right now, just more and more lanes are being streamed inside. I didn't see this many bros being killed by Aster, who's actually in a really convincing advantage. Right now, the War Prism trying to do as much as he can to save those Stalkers, but those 6 queens are just shooting at everything at once, and not even an Immortal can do much about it. Shield batteries out of juice as well. Only 26 workers. Of course, Aster getting another Nidus network, just another Nidus Swarm, sorry, to try and actually have some faster reinforcements into his army, but it doesn't look like he really needs that. Links everywhere, 6 queens. This is a really strong all-in by Aster, which has been scouted by Kingslayer. This is the funniest thing although. Kingslayer actually saw the Nidus network but did nothing to... Well, I don't think he just clicked on it, because he did nothing to actually prevent the Nidus network to coming into his face, and those 2 Immortals are not gonna cut it. Aster getting his game 1 victory. And who knows? Let's get into game 2 as quick as you can. Really convincing victory by Aster with a really cheesy build as well. Of course, getting a player such as Kingslayer, no easy task, but with such an aggressive game, I think Aster really has put himself in a... I think best of 5 series, of course, there are some really serious psychological matters. Like, you lose game 1 after a lane queen or lane, and you just don't feel really good about the series at all. But we're gonna see what Aster is gonna do in game 2. So, spawning in the top left hand corner of Thunderbird, we have our light pink Protoss player. It is Kingslayer. Playing on a barcode account. Oh, red card, KS, red card. Spawning instead in the bottom right hand corner. It's the Green Zerg, currently 1 point ahead. In this best of 5 series, it is Aster. Oh, Pylon Scout for Kingslayer wants to deny the hatch, delay the hatch. Oh, 16 hatch just in time to place an hatch, even if it is a Pylon Scout. And Kingslayer is just gonna confirm it's an hatch first by Aster, differently from the game before. And Kingslayer actually deciding to wall off this ramp instead of just his natural. Of course, it is a pretty bold choice, because it feels like you're really gonna have some problems if there is some kind of early aggression. But also having a ramp to hold instead of just your natural for like the first 5-6 minutes of the game can be something really good to just establish a strong economy, strong tech lead, and so on, of course. course, you need one more pylon in the wall here. You have to place your second pylon in the wall. Or is actually Kingslayer going to do this? I don't think he is. So his wall is gonna be incomplete for slightly longer. And he has a probe in position to actually scout for a third base from Aster as soon as the third player actually takes it. Stalker first to deny as much vision as possible. The Overlord has got into his high ground position, of course, but it's kind of tricky on this map, to be honest, because the production buildings placed by the Protoss player on the ramp, in case it is a Terran player, are really far away from the Overlord. So I feel like this is a really strong Overlord speed opener map. Anyway, robotics facility and forge being produced by Kingslayer. Once again, who's playing a little bit safer right now, trying to avoid any more Nidus play from coming, of course. All links have killed the probe, which was blocking the fur base of Aster. Instead, went into once again another really fast lair without actually getting in his first defensive tech building up, either Watch Warren or Babyness, of course. So this Stalker in patrol is trying to deny any possible Nidus play, but this is pretty much the weakness of this kind of wall, because if there is just a lot more room you can get a Nidus on, instead of just the main, see over here, in natural, of course, you now have all this room to get just a stream of links getting into the mineral lines. This Overlord is gonna get killed, of course, and once again another Nidus network for Aster. And at this spot, probably Kingslayer is gonna fear something is coming. This Overlord was turning into an Overseer, of course, being scouted by Kingslayer, being something really big. And Kingslayer actually scouts this Overseer being produced, but I don't know if he actually saw it. Oh. But you don't need an Overseer if you have links. And there is this kind of wall. This is just too weak against Nidus. Oh gosh. And right now the womb comes up. Kingslayer knows what's coming at him. And he's probably thinking right now, oh, not this again. Of course, Queens trying to get creep tumors as fast as they can. Nidus warming in the natural as well to give some more creep for the Queens to actually walk on top of. So right now they're just trying to move slowly through this fur-based location. Those Stalkers are nicely tucked in, but one pylon has fallen right now, the second is under fire. The War Prism is trying to do as much as he can possibly do to save those Stalkers, save those probes from these links. One Stalker falls and Kingslayer just calls the GG. Once again, Aster has done it with a really cheeky build with this Nidus, Ling and Queens all in. Okay, so I just said, if you lose to this kind of build in game 1, you don't feel really good, but game 2 as well, you feel kind of mad. So I'm really curious to see what game 3 actually has to offer us. So let's get into game 3, Kingslayer versus Aster. Aster leading the series 2-0 against a Protoss player, and we're gonna have a game 3 on Acropolis. Here we are, Acropolis, game 3. Aster leading the series 2-0, but spawning in the bottom right hand corner. It is his Protoss opponent, Kingslayer. As I said before, he's leading the series 2-0. He's Zerg and he is green. Other than being on Acropolis and in the top left hand corner, he is also Aster. $17 hatch for Aster probably. This is the... yeah. Okay. What do we have here? Another spawning pool first. Aster doesn't want these games to last a lot of time. And Kingslayer going for a gateway scout this time instead of a balance scout, knowing Acropolis is once again another big map. He's not gonna see an archery and he's gonna think, oh gosh, not this again. Or is he not gonna see? Okay, he sees an archer right now, but those players are really experienced. He's gonna know this is not an arch first game. Did he see? Oh, he didn't see the spawning pool. So he's gonna know it, but slightly late. This is a spawning pool, so he knows he's gonna place the cybernetics core and a gateway to close the wall as soon as he can, before making his nexus and probably placing another pylon, of course, to try and just get as less damage as possible from the 6 links that are gonna stream into his base, or against his base, of course, in these first minutes of the game. Okay, the probe is gonna see exactly when the links are going to come out, but this time Aster actually bothers with the probe, trying to get a kill on it before it can get it into his base, but right now the queen is gonna probably end the deal. Actually no, it's the links. That's already in production, not being chrono boosted yet, but he's probably gonna be chrono boosted soon. This Nexus actually has the energy to chrono boost the gateway. I'm not too sure why he's not doing it. Okay, he is doing it now. But that first Stalker in the second gateway and the Nexus being almost finished. Aster knows there is basically no way he can deal damage with those links in front of the wall of Kingslayer. So he just gets back into droning, probably gonna get a third base soon. Yes, there it is. And our third player is just gonna try to transition into a slightly macro game. I don't know if this word exists, but I'll make it up nonetheless. Anyway, on Acropolis, getting a Nidus up, it's actually really hard. There is a Python over here, there is a Stalker over here, there is not a single blind spot in the whole base of Kingslayer. So I don't think Aster is going for something as cheeky as he went for in the first games. And no lair being done by Aster yet, so we know this is not some kind of early aggression. Aster is droning it up. Kingslayer feels confident enough this game to go for the same opener he went the 2 games before. Robotics Facility and Forge are gonna be the tech choices of our Protoss player. Who's not expanding yet, a little bit too early for a Protoss player to expand, but he's gonna expand soon, that's for sure. Aster establishing his third base and getting the lair and the gas he needs to support a slightly stronger unit production than links and veins and roaches, of course. He's probably gonna go on 5 gases soon and start his tech choice. I'm not too sure if this is gonna be Mutas, if this is gonna be Hydras, if this is gonna be Swomos. It could be basically anything from this point onwards. 16 defensive links. Actually, are they defensive? Yes, they are. 16 defensive links are going to be morphed, but they don't look like they want to stay in their base for a lot longer. Spire is in production as well. And right now, Aster trying to get as much mech control as he can possibly do. Of course, he's not gonna break this wall anytime soon, but he can deny the third base for a lot of time instead. And as soon as these mutas are out, actually, there is a way to actually break the wall. But I think the mutas for Aster are probably going to try and deal. Oh gosh. So I hate custom games without game art. Anyway, Stargates are being produced by Kingslayer, who just, without even scouting, just as the perfect answer to the Spire of Aster. Actually, did he scout it? Oh, he did scout it. He has an observer just over there. That's nice. 4 Stalker drop to get some queens, to get some creep. This is a stats versus sterile build, if I remember correctly. It was oh, how was that map called? The one with Amon. Okay, Year Zero. Yeah, it was Year Zero. Really good map. I missed that map. Anyway, +1 air for Aster. 10-11 mutas in production and just a lot of links. Not a single Bane, of course, without the Baniness. But this base is gonna get denied for a slightly longer time than probably Kingslayer had prevented before getting into this game. But 2 Stargates, Templar Archives, many Phoenixes in production. 2 Phoenixes in production, 2 Phoenixes already made. The Immortal production is starting to get really consistent, of course. +2 on the way, charge on the way. Kingslayer has a really strong production, a really strong army. He needs his third base though. He needs to get those Archons out to deal with the mutas and get a safe third base. Right now, those mutas are trying to get as much damage as they can possibly do with their +1 upgrades. But we have 2 cannons in the main. We have 4 Phoenixes in the natural. Actually, I think those are 6 Phoenixes. 6 Phoenixes and 4 Stalkers and 2 cannons in the natural. Those mutas are not gonna do much. Of course, getting his opponent's supply block is a pretty much victory. And right now, the mutas and Phoenixes dance can start. Aster just gets away, tries to deny the third base for a while longer, but right now, really good force skills allow for the Protoss player units to get into a comfy spot to just shoot away at those links without giving a lot of surface. 4th base for Aster on the way, and right now of course the transition is into Corruptors. Way sturdier unit to try and break Kingslayer defenses. Spore Crawlers in the only in the third base location actually. Indeed. 1 in the main, I think. Yes, 1 in the main and 2 in the third base to actually avoid from the Phoenixes to actually doing any damage to his opponent. +2 air in production, so he's really committed into this Link Muta Corruptor play. The Corruptors are trying to get on top of the Phoenixes. The Lings are trying to get surface on the units, while the Mutas are trying to snipe any key units. But with 3 Archons and 3 Archons already made, I don't think these Lings and Mutas can actually deal a lot of damage. Four gates over here. I think, yeah, okay. And those 2 gates are all the Kingslayer has for his production right now. So he's just relying this much on Archons and Immortals to deal with Lings and Mutas. But right now, if Aster gets to transition to his late game units, I don't think Kingslayer will remotely have enough. After being this threatening, it is true he didn't deal a lot of damage, but just by being this threatening, denying his opponent third base for this much time, has been such a strong point for him to be in the game. Okay, yeah. Now he has a really strong Spine Crawler wall as well over here. Getting his Infestation Pit, yeah, it is here. Getting his Infestation Pit to get into Hive Tech. And yeah, Kingslayer has just more of the same. He's not getting anything. He's not getting Storm, he's not getting... Well, this arm is really strong, of course. Not easy task for just Mutas and Links to ult. But getting into the open without sentries is just gonna be the Archons. And this wall of Spine Crawlers here and here are gonna be it's gonna be really hard to break if Aster can get on top of the... oh gosh. On top of the Immortals, but it doesn't look like he wants to get on top of the Immortals. It just looks like he wants to kill his opponent a hell of a time. How many probes has he killed right now? He killed 16 probes, while right now Kingslayer is trying to get into the main of his opponent. Just a lot of Spine Crawlers are what is gonna be between Kingslayer's army and Aster's one. But these Mutas are basically everywhere. The Corruptors trying to get the Phoenix, and I think they will eventually kill all the remaining Phoenix. Just one remains, but of course it's not gonna be enough for these Mutas. But at this same time, on the opposite side of the map, Kingslayer is killing everything in the base of Aster. He just doesn't have nothing home to defend this. Just this base is mining over here, while at the same time, these Mutas killing these Archons, killing these remaining cannons, are gonna kill everything that's remaining in Kingslayer's base. And right now 49 probes have fallen, 38 drones. He recalled just 2 Archons to deal with the Mutas. So I think actually Kingslayer, I think Kingslayer has done this. There's no way actually Aster is going to win this game. I'm so confused right now. I mean, are there enough Mutas to kill those 2 Archons? This base is everything that's standing for Aster right now. He is heavily supply blocked. His opponent has Archons, really good units against Mutas of course, but those 2 Archons actually fail, and now the Mutas are on top of the cannons. I don't think a single probe is gonna left standing after this attack by Aster. Kingslayer is trying to kill everything, thinking this is just a base trade, while Aster has another base mining right now. I mean, Kingslayer has won this game. There is no way Aster is going to win this game. But there is just this over here. This is a weird base trade right now. 4 Archons are gonna kill... How many Mutas are there? I mean, these are a lot of Mutas. I mean, 50 Mutas, it's a lot of Mutas. But is it enough Mutas? I don't think it is enough Mutas. Okay, Kingslayer getting more and more stuff killed as well. Aster hiding drones throughout the map, feeling strong on his Mutas. Not a single worker remaining from Kingslayer. Kingslayer cannot produce anything the whole game. He has no more Nexi. I think that if Aster hides one single building in a good spot, there is no way those 4 Archons are gonna be able to chase the Mutas for the whole match. I think Aster has done this. I don't think those Archons... Is the War Prism alive? Yes, the War Prism is alive. I mean, not that it matters, because Kingslayer is going to... Yeah, right now, I don't know, is there an archery being made? Yeah, yes it is. Of course, being made in the only spot you never expected to be made, the main base. Structure stub is just... it's just this. There is nothing... okay, okay, the Stalkers found this. Oh, there is nothing else for us there, just this. Okay, there is this as well. He was adding one more drone. He's gonna cancel that as soon as it is low enough. Okay, the Archons are trying to kill a cybernetic core to get into position, feeling safe on the skewer, simulators and the pylon. This is one crazy game. Right now the Mutas are trying to find a spot. Okay, they just slip away, get on top of the pylon. And right now, there is not a lot of buildings remaining for Kingslayer. Okay, cancelling this hatchery has been... oh gosh. Those Immortals are on the prowl. But right now, Aster just wants to kill the Immortals, wants to kill the Stalkers, so he can just hide his buildings in peace, maybe establish an economy. Oh gosh, those 4 Archons of course have to stay home to try and defend the remaining buildings. But right now, Mutas get on top of the Stalkers and the Immortals. And probably the hatchery is gonna get defended, and if this hatchery stays up with enough overlords being alive, he can just make drones. Okay, 1 zealot, not enough to kill an hatchery. Where is this drone? Oh, come on Aster. He's making drones right now. He could make a spawning pool as well. But right now, the Mutas try to get on top of the Archons. This is gonna be a bloody battle, but 2 Archons fall. The War Prism is trying to save as many Archons as possible. Of course, the Mutas are really low. But what the Mutas can do, the Archons cannot. The Mutas really have a fast regeneration. Okay, this drone is trying to get everywhere. But the Mutas are gonna get this Zealot as well. And this has been a crazy game. Aster killing every single probe has basically pinned down Kingslayer in his base. There is just 1 Archon, I think. 2 Archons inside this prism, but the Mutas are gonna get the prism. Oh gosh. Oh no. Okay, the Archons are into the prism, but now the prism is down. The Archons are trying to get as much damage as possible, and this is the last unit remaining for Kingslayer. Falling to those Mutas, +2. Aster gets game 3 in a crazy game. What a game by our third player, getting his victory in this first week of Alpha X Apprentice. And we're done for today, guys. And it's been a really good day of StarCraft, really good games, especially ending this this day of Alpha X Apprentice with such a game has been really I'd say a treat, you know, just the topping on the cake for a really good day of StarCraft. Of course, we have seen 3 games finish 3-0, so I'm curious for tomorrow, maybe seeing some more close games. But I think this series especially has been such a weird one that nothing is really being like completely told from those guys. I don't think there is one clear player that is gonna probably win his group or not. So I'm curious to see next week. I'm curious to see Group C players fighting for getting into the playoffs. And I think that's all, guys. Thank you everyone for tuning in, and I'm gonna see you tomorrow, 7 PM CST. Type !bracket in the chat to actually put up the bracket, see the groups, see the players, know the scores if you just tuned in slightly later. And see you tomorrow, guys. It's been a pleasure, and just see you tomorrow for some more StarCraft. This has been Alpha X Apprentice, first season of our new in-house tournament, and I hope you're gonna enjoy this tournament to the very last game. See ya!